National Security Committee officers forced Vladimir Kozlov and his lawyer to sign the minutes of familiarization with the criminal case. This rush couldn't be explained by the NSC staff, trying to fit in the schedule for holiday season and avoiding the presence of international observers at the trial. The defendant and his lawyer were given only 3 weeks to study the criminal case, which contains 61 volumes. The lawyer said that a 67-person interdepartmental group was involved in drawing up the case, with about 100 people in total, counting all consultants and translators. The lawyer of Vladimir Kozlov, Alexei Plugov, says that the politician himself was not yet fully acquainted with the case materials and also mentioned all sorts of obstacles that were created by the administration of the Aktau detention center. The criminal case materials contain 61 volumes. At the moment, Vladimir Kozlov hasn't read through all of them. The prosecutor of the Mangistar region authorized a decree to schedule a study of case materials ending on August 8th. It's worth noting that the actual study of case materials began on July 24th, because since July 18th, the detention center administration prohibited daily the use of technical means during the study. During that 6-day period, we were working virtually by hand, writing down short entries. We couldn't make copies, as the administration of the Aktau detention center would seize our scanning equipment at the entrance and return it only a few hours later. Hence, we've only had 2 or 3 hours a day of productive study of case materials from July 18th to the 24th. According to the wife of Vladimir Kozlov, Aliya Turuzbekova, the entire criminal case is based on the incrimination of the politician. Also, an active interference of the head of the investigative group Baldairov in the work of defense raises doubts about the fairness of the investigation, says Turuzbekova. She made such conclusions upon several shocking revelations by NSC officers. The National Security Committee is confident that the trial will be over in a month, despite the fact that the court is supposedly an independent authority. Of course, this is very frustrating because it's obvious that the decision has already been made. Therefore, you need to realize that it's all nothing but a farce. To recap, the leader of Volga party, pending registration, was arrested by the NSC in late January. He is charged with inciting social hatred, calling for the violent overthrow of constitutional order, and establishing an organized criminal group. Vladimir Kozlov has been in custody for more than 7 months now. The last time Aliya Turuzbekova met with her husband was July 28th. She admits that Kozlov has lost some weight, which is not surprising, as the unsanitary conditions in his prison cell don't meet even the most modest Kazakh standards. On top of that, Vladimir Kozlov is facing constant pressure from the NSC. It's hard in the sense that even though everyone knows Vladimir Kozlov as a strong person, we all worry because everyone realizes that the charges are quite serious. According to results of the second stage of the unscheduled staff appraisal, more than 12% of the financial police middle management personnel will be dismissed or demoted. This was reported by the official spokesman of the financial police, Murat Jomanbay, on Tuesday. In total, the unscheduled staff assessment of the middle management in the agency affected 27% of the personnel. Out of 508 employees who went through the staff assessment conducted by the Central Assessment Committee, 63 people, or 12.4%, failed it, including 38 staff members who are the heads of regional departments and units, as well as heads of Financial Police Academy. On August 7th, Almaty residents bid their final farewells to the famed stage director and honored artist of Kazakhstan, Boris Preobrazhensky, who would have turned 74 at the end of August. His colleagues, students and family attended the ceremony. For many years, Preobrazhensky headed the Natalia Sats State Academic Russian Theater for Children. The master has directed more than 100 plays, each unique and inimitable. Actors who worked with Preobrazhensky in Almaty remember him as a strong, charismatic, and an extraordinary individual. There is no doubt that he was a maestro and terrific teacher. I always enjoyed working with him, and we never had any conflicts on stage. It is a pity that we're losing such masters, and there are only a few who still remain. Boris Preobrazhensky moved to Kazakhstan from Russia back in 1986. He directed his best plays for Almaty theaters and always tried to bring his art to a new level, something he was always successful with. The director's family lives in St. Petersburg, however, but Preobrazhensky indicated specifically that he wished to be buried in Almaty after his death. His daughters fulfilled the last wish of their beloved father. Indeed, our dad was a very complicated and contrasting person. He showed strong love and hate. He was a polar person, but he was sincere. Ironically, he was misunderstood by many, but he was well received in Kazakhstan, the reason why he fell in love with the country. Here he felt respected, free, and he knew that in Kazakhstan he had enough room for creativity. Tuesday's press conference held in Almaty was dedicated to the protection of media workers, the Code of Professional Ethics for Journalists, and the Public Council on Ethics and Informational Disputes. Shulpan Sarmurzina, the chair of the Almaty Human Rights Committee Atamekyan, was the main speaker at the event. She shared her thoughts about labor code violations against reporters, censorship, as well as her vision of the Code of Journalist Ethics, so often discussed lately. How is this possible? The work of the media field should be based on clear legislation, but journalists have been receiving severe punishments and enormous fines for almost 20 years now. According to the experienced journalist, it is the government that needs a code of ethics to control the media. On the other hand, the president of the Journalists in Danger Public Foundation, Roslana Taukina, believes this is impossible. She explained that the code has no advisory nature and cannot become law. Therefore, complying with it is a private matter. Taukina noted that if the pro-government media will adhere to the norms of the code, then journalism in the country will become more professional. They have plenty of orders and propaganda, which is borderline deceitful. It's similar to when a commercial says that it's a natural product and makes people believe it's true. That's what they say on the state channel Khabar, that everything is fine and there are no secrets, or only one point of view is presented, just like the case of the survived border guard. On Tuesday, Vladislav Chelach made an ultimatum demand. He refuses to cooperate with the investigation until he is allowed to see his mother. Currently, Chelach's family is not allowed to visit the border guard. However, the investigation has yet to make a concession. In the meantime, human rights defender Vasily Rezvan intends to publicize his decision to institute a criminal proceeding against the chief of Sarybokter outpost, Alexei Fomin. Following the tragedy at the outpost, he was arrested for deliberately concealing the lack of communication with the Arkhangelsk station. To recap, Vladislav Chelach is suspected of killing 14 border guards and a huntsman. The results of the examination found the soldier to be sane, and he was charged with 11 other violations. Private Chelach is currently suffering a nervous breakdown. He refuses any action until he meets with his mother. The border guard addressed several petitions to the investigator, yet he had no luck so far. On Tuesday, journalists made a phone inquiry, and the investigation confirmed that he will not be allowed his mother's visit. Apparently, the main enemy of the investigation in this case is Chelach's mother. Ilya Ilyin, the two-time Olympic champion, returned to Kazakhstan on Monday and was greeted in the Almaty airport by his fans. Only very tight security prevented everyone from reaching the athlete to shake his hand. Ilyin was also vague in regards to his participation in the next Olympics in Rio. As for my plans, I have to work on myself. I will learn English, which will take about 6 months. After that, I will announce whether I'm going to compete in the next Olympic Games, but I'll definitely continue my athletic career. My soul is telling me that I will go to Rio. The first bronze medal was collected by the national team thanks to Daniel Gadjiev, the Greco-Roman wrestler who competed in 84-kilo weight class. In his final round, he faced Vladimir Gigishidze and won with the score 3-1. Almat Bispayev was not as lucky and lost to Ryotaro Matsumoto from Japan. The misfortune also followed the leader of the national wrestling team, Nurmakhan Tanaliyev, who lost to Johan Oron from Sweden in the first fight.